The Mohawk Council of Kahnawà announced today that it has revoked its delegation of powers to the Kahnawake Combined Schools Committee and has suspended its authority effective immediately. Grand Chief Mike Delisle Jr. explains the reasons behind the decision and the next steps.
Well, this morning we did suspend the authorities granted to them by an MCR back in the mid-80s to the Combined School Committee. We're not looking to step in as council right now. What we've done is, again, suspend them, put an interim board of trustees in place composed of community members with expertise in education as well as organizational development to help look at the issues within the Constitution. There are a couple of constitutions floating, and there's been a lot of misunderstandings between the two. There's been some misinformation perpetuated in the community, and this has been an ongoing issue since probably late January, early February of this year. The community who's been paying attention is aware. Again, it's not a takeover of the education system. It's to ensure that the Constitution gets righted, that the education system continues to work as it has in the past years, and to assure that parents' concerns are heard, voices are being spread all over the community in terms of what's being said, and we felt that this time it was the best interest of education and for the future of the children in Kahnawake to have an interim board put in place. The Combined School Committee chair was notified verbally by myself this morning, and written notification will be followed through with. The new trustees were spoken to verbally again, but will also be followed through with letters and a meeting coming up hopefully this week. The Education Center was contacted to ensure that they understand who the boss, so to speak, will be. And again, it's not the Mohawk Council of Kahnawà, it's the interim board to ensure that educational curriculum and everything else moves forward. As we know that school started in earnest today. The education system has been functioning for the last 2 weeks with teachers and administrators coming back. So extremely important to assure the community that we're not overstepping anyone's bounds. We want to assure that education will continue in Kahnawake as we've seen it. At this point, it's looking like 90 days, depending on how quickly this interim board can move, and I understand they're prepared to mobilize now to bring together parents, concerns, everything else that's been out there in the community to look at the Constitution in earnest, to try and get through some of that through community consultation. Parents groups are still involved through the in-school committees and so on. We haven't changed any of that, but just the confusion within the Constitution is mainly the reason, and we're looking at 90 days right now. We'll see what can be done within that time frame upon further review. We haven't removed them. What we've done is remove the powers that the authority and responsibilities that were granted through an MCR, like I said, the Mohawk Council resolution back in the mid-80s. We weren't the body that formed the Combined School Committee, so we're not disassociating them. We just want to assure that some of the things that have been asked of them be moved forward by this interim board. So what happens after this really depends on what happens with these constitutional discussions, debates, and so on in the community. It's a total revamping. There's a need for a renewed blueprint for education in the community, so on and so forth, some major pieces of work.